changed in so many ways at once. Has the day begun? I lived one life. As the day ended, I had begun anew, reborn with a new life, a new mission, reborn with a new vision. What may come, I don't know yet, but I am here alive, living my life to the fullest, with new love in my heart and soul, a gift to have, a gift to give, a new life of love, reborn.
Good afternoon. So nice to see you. Thank you for being here, Karen. I saw that you, Witchy Trista, nice to see you. Hey, I heard you did some karaoke. I got to go catch up on it. And that you're really starting to hit your stride going live, sister. So I want to be there to support you. I'm much better. Don't I sound better, Karen? I still feel like a little bit crappy, but I'm getting there. So I'm still having my tea. I need that tea. Today is Tuesday, October 14th. And you know, what's really kind of freaking me out is that these days and the months, they are flying by. And I just want to reel it in and slow down a little bit. You know, we talked about fall being more reflective and regenerative. And I just feel like it's going and we can't slow down. So, yeah, let me see, Witch. Hold on. I'm going to get I shouldn't call you Witch, Trista. Let me get your channel and post it for you. And let's do that. Hold, please. I believe this is you. So go here. And I'm still learning how to copy and paste everybody's links. So just bear with me a second. No, I don't want to do all that. I just want this. Copy link. Nobody said I was the smartest bulb on the block. All right, I think I did it. Angela's here. Hello. All right. Yeah, man, oh man. 2 weeks with the flu. Down for the count. I got to tell you. I've started putting cinnamon in my coffee, turmeric in my food. There was a couple of other things that was recommended for me to start incorporating into my, diet so that I could help my immune system since I am watch the words. I was going to say because I am fragile, but that is not an accurate statement. My system may be fragile. I am not fragile. I can call you whatever I want. Do you remember this now? You guys might be, Karen may know this. Do you remember that commercial? I don't remember what it was for, but you can call me John. You could call me this. You could call me that. Do you remember that commercial? Well, when Trista said that, that's what popped into my head. Current events? No. Things from yesteryear? Sure. I chose don't take anything personally. That's a big one for me. I'm so excited that we're going to talk about this today. And everybody should thank Karen because she had mentioned it. I've talked about this many times. And I don't think that there's, today it might be that. Tomorrow it could be something else. And so I'm going to just wait a second to let people You can call me out. Yes. Isn't it funny? Just the things that pop into our minds. So I'm doing a little ADD here. But um, the four agreements, I've read them. I've talked about them on this channel since I started in January of 2025. Can't believe that in 2 months it will be a year. And really just amazing. I know my channel is not large, but for me, it wasn't about money per se. Don't get me wrong. If I do really well and my channel explodes and YouTube gives me a little something, something, I will take it. And according to my investment guy, he's like, you need to start doing something, sister, or you're not going to have money for retirement. And, and I'm already on disability. So anyway, excuse me. I am going to be a little bit, horsey, but, bear with me. So right now it's 40% be impeccable with your word, 20% don't take anything personally, and 40% don't make assumptions. And for some reason, the poll wouldn't allow me to put the fifth agreement in. And we're going to talk about all of those. So bear with me while we go down that rabbit hole. Hi, Bonnie. So happy you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I love that you gals have popped in today. I'm always fascinated by this topic because and you do not have to have read this book, Angela. I'm going to talk about it, but it's in a nutshell. Don Miguel Ruiz had written the four agreements, and then he added a fifth in 2010. And the four agreements is really about the opportunity to deepen conversation, right? Especially through the lens of our emotions, being authentic, our spiritual integration, things that from our historical awareness. For example, what I mean by that is what our families have taught us, right? John, well, we have a fella in the crowd. Oh, Elizabeth made it. Excellent. I hope you're doing well, everybody. So glad to see you all. And again, some of you didn't know, but I had the flu for a couple of weeks, so I am a little froggy and scratchy, but I'm on the mend. Yeah, do what you got to do. Dust off your lovely crystals. That's a chore for me in the near future. So some of the things that I wanted, because we've talked about the four agreements in the past, I wanted to just create engagement about using these tools, these four agreements, the five agreements really, to enhance our relationships, our self-growth, right? Because when we think about, Ruiz was looking from society and the conditioning, and that, we seek approval as individuals. We seek, sort of, I don't want to call it the good girl syndrome. So the good person syndrome, right? We all want to be acknowledged, and we sort of suppress our own authenticity to fit in. And as we've aged and we understand that there are other things in the world, we don't necessarily want to fit in just for the sake of fitting in. Yeah, John, I'm sorry to hear that. I still have a cough. And it haunts me, but I'm getting way better. So I'm just going to put out the positivity. I do agree, Karen. I'm going to just highlight this a second, guys. If everybody read this book, there probably would be fewer disagreements, because this is a reflection. This book is a mirror. So we're really looking at ourselves. We're talking about ourselves, right? Our names weren't weird in Truth Wave or Good Dawning, though. Our names? I think I may have missed something. Maybe because we're mods. I don't know. I think I missed a comment. But I'm going to stay focused because I'm a little ADD. So we want to today sort of invite inflection and reflection about how these agreements can help us and sort of reclaim what our voice is, our individual voice, right? So be impeccable with your words. This is how can words poison us or liberate us, right? Words can wound us and they can uplift us. And really, one word can impact somebody else. Oh, yeah, I don't know why that's happening. That's something that's new. I hadn't seen that before, Karen. So thank you for sharing that. All right. So let me just why does this book matter to me? I think of words as energetic tools. They shape our beliefs, our relationships, sort of the reality of everything. And being impeccable with our word or words means aligning with our truth, with love. And so the thought might be, when have I said something or used words that diminished either myself or somebody else? Right? So I think that's important for us to think about and to use as a measuring stick, if you will. And I'm only going to do this high level and then I'm going to jump back in. So, number 2 is don't take anything personally. The most difficult one for me for most of my life. What others say and do is a reflection of their reality, not me. But I didn't take it that way. And I think most of us don't, right? So taking things personally binds us to somebody else's perception of who we are. And that, I think, bears much discussion. And what are the stories that we have to tell ourselves when we feel hurt? How do we reclaim our energy from other people's opinions? And their opinions are just that. And it doesn't mean that someone can't constructively say, oh, thank you, B. I didn't even see you pop in. Thank you. So hello. I hope I haven't missed anybody. And I'll scroll through in a minute, guys. I want to just kind of focus in on you and then we'll jump into comments. And I would love to see the poll. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about the third agreement, which is don't make assumptions. Clearly communicate, because don't assume you know how somebody else is thinking, what somebody else. Oh, Lord. Let me try that again. Don't assume you know what somebody else is thinking or feeling. What do assumptions do to us, guys? Besides making an ass out of you and me. I'm about to unplug and it's unplugged. So no wonder. All right, guys. Your friend Teresa is a little bit, she's just doing great. We're going to use our words. I think sometimes assumptions are based on fear, right? And they block intimacy. They block truth. We create stories about other people. And why do we do that? Sometimes we do it to make ourselves feel better. And so that's the third one. The fourth agreement is always do your best. And really, that one, your best changes from moment to moment, right? It's to honor your effort. It's not about being perfect. This agreement is about self-compassion, about resilience. It's honoring your own sacred rhythm of life. And then the fifth one, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. So let me just, the fifth one is be skeptical, but learn to listen. Right? Including your own beliefs. Question everything, but stay open hearted. And this one for me, and I'm glad he added it, invites deep listening and discernment, right? It helps us to navigate in this noisy world. So I'm going to pause and then just go back to the comments for a second to see where everybody is. And then also, I want to see how we're doing on the poll. So first with the poll, we have 33% be impeccable with your word. We have 17% don't take anything personally. We have 50% don't make assumptions, and nobody right now, always do your best. And the fifth one didn't fit in the poll for some reason. So whatever. Okay. So let me just scroll through to see who's in the chat. I'm going to make this, I'm not going to end the poll, but I do want to make it smaller. Why is this not allowing me to see the chat? Oh, that's why. All righty. I'm just scrolling, guys. Give me a second to catch up. All right. Your word was as good as a contract in the olden days. Absolutely. And I think that's an old-fashioned way for us to harken back to, right? I think one of the things that we as people, so I'm going to use me. I've always tried to treat everybody respectfully. I can guarantee that I haven't, right? I mean, it's not possible. And sometimes I react to things. Sometimes I respond quickly. Sometimes I respond thoughtfully. And there comes this time of pausing. And I think that's part of what the Four Agreements is saying. Pause. So when I first came on here, I'm sorry, I have an itch in my nose. I'm just trying to think of the right way to say what I want to say. Yeah, I think there aren't a lot of people that use their words wisely. Yeah, the fifth one, Karen, that fifth one came out in 2010, so he amended it. And I'm sure at some point he's going to come up with another one. And in the chaos of this world, I'm sure there's going to be more. But one of the things that I think we as society, we have this sense of arrogance that, well, I know everything. I know best. I may not do best, but I know best, right? And we need to pause. I need to pause and try to be respectful of someone else's thoughts and words and opinions. And this if you listen to Don Miguel, if you really read the books, there is a book, I haven't read it yet, about the mastery of love. I haven't read that one, and if someone else has, that's terrific. But it comes down to reclaiming power from what we've inherited from our families, our friends, our communities, the external voices. And so this newer agreement teaches us to pause before we internalize messages, right? There's discernment versus judgment. Being a skeptic doesn't mean you're a cynic, right? If we take this pause, the truth sort of comes out. And this we can apply, puppers, we can apply to watching the news, conversations with friends, conversations with colleagues, conversations with YouTube people. And I think that is one of those things that we need to slow back and listen. And listening, true listening, according to Don Miguel, I can't take credit for this. He said that true listening involves being present, having empathy, being aware. And then, we all have this inner judge, shame, fear, conditioning, and we try to rewrite the internal script. And this is for us to pause and be more thoughtful and reflective. And so when we talk about the fifth one, he's inviting us to question everything, especially the stories we've been told and the ones we tell ourselves. It's not about rejecting somebody else or anything else. It's about listening with discernment and curiosity and having an open heart. And I think, this is me, having an open heart allows for conversation and acknowledging that maybe the way we have been believing, the way I have been believing, is not necessarily, hi, sweet boy, come sit. All right, get comfy. He stole his brother's bone. It's sometimes we've been on this thought train that maybe we should have jumped off already. It's not appropriate anymore, or it's not suitable for the conversations that we're having. So don't automatically believe what others say or what your mind repeats. That's the skepticism part. Do a little bit of research. Listen. And I think that's one of the things that I love about Don Miguel. And one of the things that he also said is, in this world, we are saturated with noise, opinions. Lord knows everybody's got an opinion. We have our inherited beliefs from our families. So I think I've shared before, in my family, there were certain ways that my family grew up in the Bronx in New York in the 40s and 50s and 60s. And so culturally, one block was Italian, one block was Irish, one block was Polish, one block was Jewish, one block was Black, and that was the microcosm of that time. Over time, it became another culture and multicultures. And everyone had a stereotype about the other block, right? So you were always superior depending on the block you were part of. And your way was always the right way. There was no room for hearing that somebody else might have something different. The only time that changed was when people gathered and ate food. Think about that. Food is the love language of people. So if you bring your homemade bread and someone brings challah and someone brings bubki and somebody brings a croissant, each of those are delicious in their own right? But they're different. And we can agree that they're different and we can still like them. It's very simple, I know. But it is something that I feel really strongly about when we start talking about food. So people don't know the true definition of skeptic these days, and I agree with that. Millie, thank you for being here. Yes, I remember it's still like that in your hometown. Everyone stays in their sections. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I, I'm open because there's safety in familiarity, there's safety in similar ideals and values, but it can be limiting. And I think what the four agreements is saying is be discerning, because if you create these narrow blocks, you lose an opportunity or you miss an opportunity to become better. When we know more, we do better. When we have all the information, we do better. That would be, so Karen says, wow, that would be amazing. All multicultures. I have been living multicultural for many years now and love it. Yeah, great. I agree. And look, there are people I disagree with all the bloody time. And then I sit down and say, why? Why do I disagree? And I have an example. I'm going to try to say this in case this person ever listens to my channel, which is unlikely. But this person likes to just get me riled up. I believe this person doesn't even like me or is threatened by me. I have an education. Not that it's done me any good, but I have an education. When I speak, I'm usually pretty confident in the information that I'm sharing. And if I don't know something, I don't pretend I know it. And so many of us in New England were experiencing a nor'easter, so lots of rain. And this person's like, what are you going to do about all this rain? Are you going to take down your tent? Are you going to do this? You're going to do that? And I said, yeah, I don't really believe that the nor'easter is going to hit our community, but thank you for the information. And that person continued to rant. And I turned my back and I said, just breathe. I'm not sure what this person was getting at, but I took it as a lesson to learn, because really what I wanted to turn around and say is shut the F up. You don't know what you're talking about. If you had read the weather report, our area was getting hit with rain. Absolutely. There were no tornado warnings coming our way. Other parts of the state, absolutely. But we're in a little lull of the valley and we're okay. He went quiet and was very flustered because he couldn't engage me. And I went about my business. I was already working in my garden, putting it to bed for the season. And I'm going to share some photos. Hopefully this Thursday, I won't be going live, but next week I hope to share the carrot harvest that I had, rainbow carrots, different sizes and shapes, and the tomatoes that I have received. Oh, absolutely magnificent. But as I'm putting the garden to bed and I'm changing things up in preparation for next year, he's still trying to engage me in this conversation as if I can't make my own decisions. That isn't about me. That's about him. I know he feels like he needs to be heard, and he and I will never agree. I don't like this person. I don't like what he stands for. I don't like how he speaks to women. He does not treat us well. I know a little bit about his childhood, a little bit, and his upbringing. I don't buy it as an excuse anymore. We're grown-ass adults, people. Hey, Ben. So in my mind, I feel really strongly engaging with this person isn't the right thing, but he infuriates me. And I have to turn around the mirror and say, why? Because I feel like I know everything. I knew about the weather. I did my research. Who the heck is this person telling me what's what? And you can't always assume that someone is intending to be nasty. You can't assume someone's intending to hurt you. Maybe in this person's own way, they were trying to do a good deed. It just didn't come across that way. But maybe that was the intention. And so, using Don Miguel Ruiz's 4 agreements, 5 agreements, really, I had to step back and I wanted to be impeccable with my words, and I was. Now, internally, and I didn't take it personally, which is a first, because usually this person triggers me in so many ways. But then I let it go because I want to do better and I want to be better. I also want to listen better. And that takes awareness, and that's the reflection in the mirror. And all that I can hear in my head is Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror. You know, it's like we have to look in the mirror and pay attention to our inner voice and what we believe. And sometimes we do have to listen to others. Okay, so hold on. I'm seeing some comments and I'm getting behind. So Ben said, hello, Ben, would have made a horrible DOD analyst admitting you don't know what you don't know. Just thank you, Ben. Sassy pants. Yeah, Karen, maybe they grew up in a house where they had to be aggressive to be heard. I'm sure I had to be aggressive to be heard. I was a loudmouth. I'm still a loudmouth. I still want to be heard. I still want to be respected. I want to be acknowledged. Well, now I don't feel that. I don't want to say I don't feel that calling as much as in the past. But in the last year plus, so Friday was the anniversary of my mom's death. She's been gone 9 years. My dad's been gone 5 months, 6 months. My 2 uncles have been gone a year, and my other uncle who just died has only been a few weeks. Anybody that I would want to be heard by or from an elder community, they're gone. And the peer community, I have learned, don't matter, but that's not what I mean to say. So using my words, they matter, but my opinion, my words matter more. How I feel matters more. What I'm learning is to step back for a second and listen. And I've been so reactionary, and that's where the ancestral narrative comes in. Because in order for us to be heard, you had to be sharp-witted, you had to have a comeback. When you didn't, you always went for the jugular. If I didn't have an answer, I was conditioned to just hurt you. Well, you don't know what the freak you're talking about. You're just stupid. Okay, that's a 2-year-old response, right? You know, it's like, you're stupid. You're a stinker. Stinky head. You know, come on. But you revert back to what you know because you don't know any other way to protect yourself. Right? Does that make sense? I'm going to just check on the poll. So now we're at 25%, be impeccable with your word. 25%, don't take anything personally. 42%, don't make assumptions. And 8%, always do your best. I love this. I love this, you guys. Richard and Carnosol, I'm learning why older people are slower to speak. We consider our words more carefully. Amen, brother. So, absolutely, that's true. And I think that's where discernment comes into play, right, Richard? This is where I think I'm going to call us in our, as we age, and I used to talk to my girlfriends about this. We don't give a hoot anymore if we're a little bit fluffier in the waist, if we're going to go gray. Yes, I colored my hair. For those of you who saw me, I was completely white last time, although I am going to go white pretty soon. But um, I I think that there was a lot of things that just weren't as important anymore, and we were doing things for other people in the world. And I was like, why? And so I think it just comes with age and experience. But the other thing is that as we learn, right? As we learn from, well, Don Miguel, as we learn from each other, as we participate in some of these channels, we really do echo and hearken to a different time. And so I don't think of these 5 agreements as just teachings. I think of them as an invitation for conversation, right? They're not rules to follow. They are mirrors asking us to reflect on how we speak, how we listen, how we protect our energy and our own spirit, and how we show up in the world that often forgets to ask us, who are we? In the course that I took with my teacher, Namiko, it was called The Living Art. She's revamping the program. But, who am I? Well, I am love. I am joy. I am community. It's not what I do for work. It's not just being a daughter. The essence of who I am, who I want to be, is fuller than that. And it is taking a lot of time. And as a grief educator, as a spiritual guide, I have seen how these principles, hi Mish, so nice that you can make it, my friend. Can soften pain. It can clarify our own purpose. It can empower our own healing. And when we do that, when we turn that mirror on ourselves, we can then be receptive to others. And the 5 agreements, I don't think of them as kind of like a destination. I think of them as a practice. So when you say that you're going to be impeccable with your words, you speak of healing. And in not taking things personally, you reclaim your emotional sovereignty, your emotional independence. When we talk about don't make assumptions, you open the door to deeper truths, to other people's ideas. Didn't say accept them. You're open to hearing them. And then when you think about the 5th one, be skeptical, but learn to listen. You always walk with discernment. You listen with discernment. You observe with discernment. And so these agreements guide us, not just in thought, but in practice. And our voice, our boundaries become these tools for our own transformation. And think about this. One word can influence another human being. And if you have that trickle down event, and they have a good word to someone else, and that person has another one, and that one Imagine how we can change attitudes. And I know this is all kumbaya. I struggle with this every day, and I talk to friends and many of you because I struggle with that. Is it enough to be kind to somebody? Well, do I really want to be a witch on a broom every day? Because I was feeling really cranky. Do I want to be sorrowful every day? I don't. It takes so much energy. And there's space for all of that, by the way. There's space to be angry. There's space to be mourning. There's space to be cranky. There's space to be joyful, even in a weary world. I stole that line from Willy Wonka. Um, yeah, go ahead, Karen. You take care of you, babe. Mish, I'm sorry. So I am anger, pain, confusion, fear, who I want to be, love, compassion, acceptance, and growth. And that you're already leaps and bounds ahead of where you needed to be because you know what you want to be. And it doesn't mean that we have to devalue that moment of what you're feeling because that's important. There's a space for that. I think the four agreements is really about, again, awareness more than anything. Um, I know. I love Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka. So when we think about these five agreements as anchors, words are like spells. We can cast a spell, a moment in time to people to believe something, right? Doesn't mean we want them to be that way, but we can do that. I'd rather use my words. It sounds so cheesy, but with love. What truth do I want to speak today? I am grateful. I'm grateful for all of you here. This is an engaging conversation. And by the way, self promo, please like and subscribe. Please don't forget to like. And then when we talk about don't take anything personally, think about this mirror, the story is not your truth. Somebody else's story is not your truth. So their wounds are their wounds. And P.S., it is not our responsibility to heal someone else's wounds. We can provide insight by how we behave, how we act, how we respond, but it's not our job to heal someone else. We can help put a Band-Aid, but really, is that what we want? It's their story. So how can you reclaim your own energy? When we talk about don't make assumptions, think about a question mark, right? Curiosity is a bridge to intimacy. Curiosity leads us to discussions. Don't assume, because it's true. It does make an ass out of you and me. If we assume we know how someone feels, and I think I talked about this last week, right? I said that, if you have a disagreement or your feelings are hurt, instead of saying, I'm going to use Mish because I know she knows I'm using this as an example. Mish, you hurt my feelings last week when you said XYZ. Instead of saying, hey, Mish, can I talk to you about something? So last week in our conversation, what I heard was X, Y, and Z, and it hurt my feelings. And I just, I need to say something. And Mish would turn around and say, oh my God, that's not what I meant at all. That's not how it was supposed to come out, blah, blah, blah. Or she would come out and say, yeah, so maybe I didn't say it the right way, but I was feeling this way. Don't assume, because if we have this open dialogue, whether it's with an intimate partner, a friend who you love that you don't want to feel angry with, someone in your community that you work with or you're associated with or you walk a dog with, or the YouTube community that we're all part of. We don't have to blow smoke up each other's skirts, so to speak. I don't need to, coat your ego and make you feel good if I think what you said was shit. But I also don't have to come on here and say, oh my God, Teresa was such blah, blah, blah. You don't have to do that, because then it's about you and not about what Teresa said. But if I said something that hurt someone's feelings, or you disagree with my take on the 5 agreements, have a conversation. Teresa, I don't think that's what Don Miguel Ruiz was meaning. Well, let's find out and let's do it together, right? So don't make assumptions. Always do your best. And this one does not mean that you need to be perfect, right? If we think about a heart, your best is always sacred, even when it's quiet. What does grace look like for you today? I did my best in cleaning my kitchen. I did not sweep the floor. I did not wash the floor. It does need that. But I did the best that I could with the energy that I have today. That's being kind to myself. I'm tired. I had 2 weeks of the flu. I was wiped out. I worked in the garden on Saturday, and I spoke to my brother, and I was like, I feel like someone beat the living dickens out of me, and I couldn't get off the couch on Sunday to save my life. And yesterday I piddled around a little bit because, again, I've been out of shape. I haven't done anything in 2 weeks. I'm tired. Have grace. What I did was enough. The sink is empty. The dishes are put away. The food has been cooked and put away or frozen. Amen. Done. And the 5th one, be skeptical, but learn to listen. So I like to use, think of your ear, right? Or open your eyes. That's a icon that you can use when you think about being skeptical. Discernment is love in motion, according to Don Miguel Ruiz. What truth is whispering beneath the noise? All right, I'm just going to pop into comments. Give me a second to catch up. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, you guys. Listening and drilling holes in the wall. That's probably the funniest thing I think I've heard in a long time. As long as I'm not making you drill those holes in the wall because you're listening to me. You go, girl. And Millie says, doing well. It has been a while. Happy to hear you're doing well. You guys, I adore all of you. Can I just tell you that? I adore you. I feel like we're sitting around, a table, and I wish that we were sharing a nosh. It's funny because earlier, while I was preparing, I actually got stuck on some holiday baking ideas. And I was like, wouldn't it be nice to sit around a table with all of you guys and we could experiment and whatever your favorite treats are? Wouldn't that be great to sit around and do and have a nosh? The only thing I don't like about YouTube is we're so far apart from each other physically that we can't sit around a table together. Ugh, that would be so much fun. Last night I built shelves and today I'm installing them. You go, girl. That's all I have to say. Gee, you just go. All right, so let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, Mish, I think the world is full of assumptions. And yeah, ADHD is real, but the assumptions, they could be protective mechanisms. I think sometimes we assume things because it gives us an air of superiority. So we feel better about ourselves because we think we know something. I think assuming that somebody else is a piece of shit makes us feel a little bit better about ourselves. That's why the mirror is so important. Because why does somebody else have to be a piece of shit in order for me to feel better? I don't want to be that way. Um, let's see. Oh my God, you guys are so funny. Some of this isn't, this is all about you guys. Holiday baking. I order cookie dough from my milkman and eat it raw. Oh, hey, no judgment. Um, tea and shortbread cookie time. Yes. I'm amazing. I finished one and no lives were lost. Oh, if I was there, I'd help you. You should hear me when I put furniture together, the vocabulary that comes out of my mouth when I'm putting things together. But I do get them together and I do get them installed. It just takes me a little while. So, guys, we're almost at time, but I hope everyone did the poll. I'm going to come back to the poll in a second. I just want to tie this up a little bit. Um, and, um, you know, some of the things that I think is recurring in our lives is clearing out the mental clutter, allowing all of the emotions, but listening to them before reacting. I think we're entitled to feel shame, fear, anger, hurt. But if we slow down, we might be able to make them into security and faith and hope and joy and laughter. Because I think sometimes laughing at ourselves is the best medicine. And when we speak words, they can be healing in nature, right? When we don't take something so personally, we reclaim our own voice and our own emotional confidence, I think. When we don't assume, we open up the door to truth because we're listening to someone else's opinion that might bring value to us. By doing our best, we honor that rhythm, that sacred rhythm. And by being skeptical, we walk away with discernment and grace. And I think that, if we use these as guides, I think it elevates us as humans, as people, as colleagues, as friends, as experimenters in this world. Had to defend myself against assumptions my whole life. I am not the best at saying things sometimes. Well, I would almost disagree with you, but I hear you and I respect that that's your perception. And I believe that you've had to defend yourself against assumptions. I think that's where I was talking earlier about stereotypes, right? So Italians were this way, and the Irish were this way, and this culture, and that culture, and this culture. We all made assumptions. And yet, when we sat around a table and we ate each other's foods from other cultures, the assumption was, oh my God, they love family. Oh my God, they like to cook. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's like the light bulbs went off. And people really ended up opening their eyes to the possibility that we have more in common than not. Great if you do a meet on Thursday. I won't be going live on Thursday. I have something that I have to do, but I will try to make the meet if possible. I'm not sure what time I'll get home. Happy just yelled at the king before coming here. Oh, you guys are so funny. Should be required reading in school. Bonnie, I think that's an amazing idea and it couldn't hurt. I think it's something that we can teach, but our teachers need to learn this too. I think our parents need to learn this too. I think each of us can learn so much by taking a moment and stepping back. It's a simple book. It's a simple concept. And we do things reflectively because we're wounded, we're hurt, our feelings got hurt, our opinions were laughed at, we were criticized. My whole life, every time I wanted to do something, there was a criticism or a condemnation. Well, you can't do that. Girls can't do that. What are you thinking you're going to do? That's my dad's voice, by the way. My dad wasn't saying it because, and I have to believe this, that he didn't think I could handle it. He was, in his way, he wanted to protect me. His old world view believed that I should be taken care of by a man so that I didn't have to think outside the box of his limiting beliefs. I couldn't see that until recently, but he, every time when I wanted to buy my own house, what the F was I doing? What do you think you're doing buying your own house? Who's going to mow the lawn? Me. Who's going to install shelves? Me. Right, Millie? We can install our own damn shelves. We can, or was that Elizabeth? Somebody was putting in their shelves. I just got waylaid. But I think that, each of us has to dim those voices because it's coming from a place of someone else's own experiences. And that's what I think. I agree. And look, this was Karen provoking me. I don't know if that's the right word. Prompting me last week when we were talking on my live, and she's like, "Yeah, I need to revisit, the 4 agreements." And I thought, how perfect to talk about it because, if we read it, if we talk about it, then it inspires us. It's a reminder. We're all human. And this world right now is so filled with anger and hate and deception and condemnation that if we don't take a moment and step back, we just continue, instead of creating this flavorful stew or soup, it's just going to be a pot full of poo. And no one's going to want to eat it. And no one's going to want to smell it. And no one's going to want to sit around a table with it. If we add the flavors of our own listening, we can do anything. Okay. Let's see. Oh, cream cheese and bagels. I love you guys. So it is time. I won't be here Thursday. So I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Please have a great week. I'm going to try to pop onto some other channels. Witchy, Trista, I don't know if you're still here. I don't know if you have a show in the next couple of days. I don't know if it's something regular. All of you guys, promote yourselves because each of you has a voice. So if you have a channel, go out there and speak your truth. I send you all with so much love, so much light, so much healing and compassion, joy, laughter, and giggles. Have a blessed couple of days. If my plans on Thursday change, I'll do a spur of the moment. But otherwise, Peter Coyote reads the audiobook. Oh, I love his voice. Peter Coyote. All right, you guys, I am sending you off with love.
I'm like an ice skater dancing out for the first time on the form solid ice. No more fears, no sorrows, because I love the common tomorrows. This life has barely begun, but now I know what I want to do. I know what I want to be. Reborn, finally feeling I am fulfilling my destiny with a heart filled of gratefulness. happiness, joy, overflowing of kindness and love. Oh, so much love. I feel like love is the supportive pillar in my soul, and it only grows each day. I'm reborn in love.